Thank you, everybody. I was going to say, please be seated, but you've done it already. Well done. Welcome, everybody, to what a wonderful day this is. I'm Gary Cuddyback, Dean of the School of Social Work, and all are welcome here. I'm so privileged and honored to be with you today on this wonderful afternoon. So thank you and good morning. Wonderful honor and distinct pleasure to welcome you all, faculty, staff, families, friends, and most of all, our class of 2026. Let's give This is our May 2026 commencement ceremony for the VCU School of Social Work. As you share your excitement today on social media, please use hashtag VCU SSW 2026 on Facebook, Instagram, and your LinkedIn accounts, if you still use those things. Very good. All right, I'd also like to say thank you to our American Sign Language interpreters from Mosaic Interpreting Services. Let's give them a round of applause. Our photography by Photo Specialties and Cindy Newmark. Here's Cindy right there. Yeah, right. And our live broadcast stream by Advanced Visual Productions. So welcome for those of you seeing us online. That's right. And to all of our graduates, the day you've worked towards for so long and so hard is finally here. We are so excited to celebrate with each and every one of you. On behalf of all of us here at the School of Social Work, I want to say congratulations, you did it. I would like to take a moment now to acknowledge our excellent and dedicated faculty, staff, and administrators who have taught, mentored, inspired, and supported all of our graduates on their journey. Would our faculty, staff, adjunct faculty, field instructors, and any others who taught, mentored, and supported our students, please stand if you would like to be recognized. Thank you. You may be seated. Class of 2026, you join the company of generations of graduates and a family of over 12,000 VCU social work alumni across the country and even internationally, along with over 700,000 social workers nationwide. As a profession, it is hard to imagine a time when the need for social work was greater. Social workers are in critical demand in every public and private sector and space, locally, nationally, and globally, in every space where inequality and injustice of any type exist. Graduates, your call is clear, your responsibility is great, your impact will be profound. Since the school was established in October of 1917, we have been a leading school of social work, consistently ranked among the top schools in the nation. Our reputation is driven by the excellence of our faculty and staff, our excellence in creating new knowledge, our excellence in engaging our communities, and our excellence in educating and supporting undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral students. This excellence is evidenced by the quality and preparation of you, our graduates, who go out into the workforce and the world and drive change for social justice. For over 109 years, we have seen students like you learn, grow, and champion the principles and values of our profession, making an impact and creating change where change is needed most. Today, we celebrate you and the impact you will be making throughout our community here in Richmond, across the state, across the nation, and around the world. We believe that our greatest contribution as a school and to our community is our students and our alumni. You are, and you will continue to be, proof of this. And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Daryl Fraser. Daryl is an African-centered community healer, licensed mental health practitioner, and devoted servant to the liberation, healing, and restoration of our Black community. With over 20 years of experience in the Richmond metro area, Daryl's work lives at the intersection of clinical practice, cultural wisdom, and collective healing. Daryl approaches his work not simply as a profession, but as a calling, guided by purpose, ancestral legacy, and a deep commitment to the wellness of his people. A longstanding member of the National Association of Black Social Workers since 2003, Daryl has contributed his leadership and vision across local and national platforms. As a former associate professor at Virginia Commonwealth University, it's time to come back, Daryl. Daryl co-created transformative spaces for truth-telling, critical consciousness, and healing. He is a 2007 graduate of our M.S.W. program. As the founder of Fraser & Associates Complete Therapeutic Services, Daryl leads a collective of healers committed to providing cultural, responsive, and holistic mental health care. Please give a warm round of applause to Daryl Fraser.
Thank you, Dean Cutterback, for that beautiful introduction. My name is Daryl Fraser, and I am your commencement speaker today. Now, I've never been asked to do a commencement speech before. This is a first for me, so please bear with me. Before I deliver this message today that I prepared with the help of ChatGPT, of course, I'm joking. Please allow me to get a few things out of my system. Left side. Left side. Can you do me a favor? Make some noise. Okay. I always wanted to do that. Okay, right side, you heard that, right? Right side, y'all ready? Right side, make some noise! All right, so I can't leave y'all out. Graduates, y'all the reason we here today. Make some noise! So look, I always wanted to be a rapper, so this was, thank you for letting me get that out of my system. So I've always loved VCU graduations. They're not stuffy like most graduations, they're not boring. This is probably one of the only graduation spaces on earth when I can do what I just did. I want to shout out Pat Natalo. He was a former professor of mine and colleague who taught at the school. He's retired now. I used to love to hear him announce names like he was at a baseball game. He inspired me to want to read names when I taught here. And for that, I'm thankful. Now, we are gathered here today to celebrate you. Graduates, class of 2026. You made it. Take the time to relish in the experience. Look around you, look at your peers, look at your family, look at your community. Breathe that in. No, really, breathe that in. Because I know this degree did not come without tears, right? Listen, I'm not ashamed to say it. There's a point in your college education, I don't care if you're a B.S.W. or M.S.W. student, you gonna cry. You gonna cry. So today, I just want to normalize that. Like today, let's celebrate. This is the point of today. So now, when I was asked by the dean to be the commencement speaker, I thought long and hard about the message that I wanted to deliver. There's a lot going on in the world right now, like a lot. Like a lot. But today, this isn't the space for that. Today, I'm gonna spare you from that, because you're gonna have plenty of time for that later. In preparation for today, I reflected on my experience sitting in that seat about a decade ago or two. But it was 2007, it was a while. And I thought about what would I want to hear and possibly what I would want to know that would help me in my social work career, and this is what came to me. One of my most favorite quotes goes, "Every person has two educations. One is which is received from others, and one, more important, that they give to themselves." So on the first day of each class that I've ever taught, I like to ask my students a simple question: what is the purpose of education? What is the purpose of education? And what I found is that very simple question often leads to a very thought-provoking conversation, because surprisingly, not many students have been asked that question before. The most obvious answers are always to learn and to get a job. And while those answers are true, I offer this: what about to change the world? Isn't it to change the world? For some, that answer can seem daunting. Some might think, who am I to change the world? Isn't that a lofty goal? What do I know about changing the world? I want a job just to get my parents off my back. I need to pay these bills. But I ask you, who are you not to? Like, for real, like, who are you not to? Right? Who are you not to? I'm a big believer that the social work profession is not for the weak. It actually isn't a profession that you sort of choose to do. It's a profession that chooses you. Case in point, this is going to require participation, graduates. By a show of your hands, how many of you identify as an empath? Ooh, see that? Empathy is one of the most important skills a social worker must develop, whether you're micro, macro, a clinician, researcher, or policymaker. For me, as a self-identified empath, I view empathy as a natural gift or talent that I was born with. Better yet, I was blessed with it. My education from VCU, School of Social Work, helped me to refine that gift into skills for listening, communicating, problem solving, advocating, and organizing. You see, social work education trains you how to think critically through a lens of a social worker. It helps shape how you see the world, and once you have those lenses, it never leaves you. It's why we seem to think differently from our families and friends and coworkers who aren't social workers. The social work lens that you received over the past several years, it just becomes a part of you. And it continuously expands and grows, but as long as you feed it. So how do you feed it? You feed it through your experiences. It might look like a job, it might look like volunteering, it might look like going to supervision, organizational affiliations, the people next to you, your colleagues, and of course, more reading, training, and schooling, but if you choose. That part of your social work education is the most important part. The part that you give to yourself, where you can imagine, create, and develop your own professional identity and how you do social work in the way that you do it. It's not just a science, it becomes an art. Simultaneously, though, you must also remember to ground yourself, okay? You're not the work. You gotta find your own joy. You gotta find your own healing and self-development. You see, in our profession, we call it self-care. I like to call it the inner work. As social work professionals, we cannot forget the personal. Before you go out and help others, make sure you're tending to your own needs first. You hear me? So I challenge you to make yourself a priority. Put yourself on the calendar and at the top of all of your to-do lists. Whether it's therapy, yoga, traveling, being in nature, or spending time with your family, you must develop your own sense of meaning and personal satisfaction outside of the work. Let's be honest. What good is it to save the world if you yourself are not happy? If you're not happy, healthy, and whole? How hypocritical can we be if we don't take the medicine that we strive to give others through our social work practice? So today, I want you to understand the responsibility that comes with that degree. Whether it's a master's, a bachelor's, or a Ph.D., your responsibility is to feed it. Your responsibility is to grow and expand your identity. Your responsibility is to take that knowledge, refine it, and take it further so you can change the world. Lastly, I would like to share something that I learned early on in my career at my first Black social worker conference. I can't even recall who the speaker was, but I remember this nugget that I will never forget. The speaker likened our work in this profession to a relay race. They said, regardless of which leg of the race you are in, you must reach forward to accept the baton from the person in front of you in order to keep running. Your job is to accept that baton and run your leg of the race, doing your best to maintain the pace or to improve upon what was given to you. Eventually, though, you get to the point in the race where you have to reach back. Your head and eyes pointing forward to relinquish the baton to the person that's coming behind you in hopes that you made things a little bit easier for them to run their leg of the race. So I say to you graduates of 2026, that diploma that you are receiving today, that's your baton. What are you going to do with it? Continue to learn and do what you can to change yourself and the world, right? And before I end, I just want to say, I want to shout out the people that came before me, the Pat DeTalos, the Bob Durbins, the Bob Pease, the Renata Hedrington Joneses. I thank y'all for passing me the baton. Class of 2026, congratulations!
Thank you, Daryl, for those inspiring remarks. I knew you were going to bring the energy, so thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Madison Woodruff, and I am the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs within VCU School of Social Work. I am so pleased to be here celebrating you all today. For those that might not know what my role entails, I have the pleasure of leading an amazing team in the Office of Student Success. Our team supports students from recruitment to graduation, helping them navigate the invisible work of being a social work student. We get to witness all the effort it takes students to move through each stage of the student experience. Students, having witnessed this invisible work firsthand, I want to take a moment to share with your friends and family what it actually took for some of you to get here. Some of you were coming back to school after building a career in a completely different field, or starting again after a long hiatus from coursework and had to adjust to a whole new set of educational expectations. For others, you were parenting or caregiving for people who rely on you, which meant finding ways to balance those responsibilities with the demands of your program. Some of you were navigating the realities of our current socio-political climate, where the work you were preparing to do did not feel abstract. It often felt personal. Others of you were navigating the institution of higher education for the first time in your family's history, doing so without a roadmap or inherited familiarity. And across the board, there were sacrifices made: time with friends and family, financial stability, rest and relaxation. These are not small things to give up, although they often go unrecognized. While these realities shaped your experience, they did not define it. Instead, what defines your experience is what you continue to do alongside everything you were navigating. This degree did not happen in isolation, and you kept showing up in meaningful ways. You kept up with numerous assignments, readings, and group projects, even on the days when it was the last thing you had energy for. Shout out to those one-time, no question asked 48-hour extensions. Yes. You engaged in your field placements, not just for the sake of logging hours, but because you had developed real relationships with clients and agencies who came to rely on your presence. You pursued extracurricular activities, applied for jobs and internships, and stepped into spaces that asked you to see yourselves as professionals or even leaders when you were still figuring out what that looked like. You navigated complex program and university processes, making sense of requirements, deadlines, and expectations that weren't always clear or easy to follow. And on some days, you were just here, doing what you could with what you had, and that counts too. As you look to the future, know that the work ahead is important, and it's not easy. But what gives me confidence in each of you is that you are prepared for what this profession requires. You have learned how to keep going when things are unclear or uncertain. You have learned how to adapt when you don't have all the answers. You have learned how to stay engaged even when the work feels heavy, because it matters. As you move forward, I hope you carry that with you. Not the expectation to have everything figured out, but the understanding that you already know how to navigate what is complex and real. Congratulations, graduates. Be proud of what it took to get here. I now have the pleasure of giving special recognition to the graduates who have distinguished themselves throughout their education at Virginia Commonwealth University and the School of Social Work. All the award, scholarship, and certificate recipients are listed in our program. Students, if you are an honoree, please stand now to be recognized. Family and friends, please join me in congratulating these graduates on their many achievements. All right. Latin honors are awarded to undergraduate students to indicate the level of academic distinction with which Bachelor's of Social Work degree was earned. Students, as I describe the following distinctions, please rise if you have been awarded this honor. Please remain standing until the end. Please hold applause until the end. To graduate cum laude, graduates have to earn between a 3.3 and a 3.59 overall grade point average in all courses attempted at all colleges and universities attend. If you are graduating cum laude, you can stand. No. Okay. And please stay standing. To graduate magna cum laude, graduates had to earn between a 3.6 and 3.89 overall grade point average in all courses attempted at all colleges and universities attended. And finally, to graduate summa cum laude, graduates had to earn 3.9 or higher overall grade point averages in all courses attempted at all colleges and universities attended. All right. Please join me one more time in congratulating our Latin Honors B.S.W. graduates. Students, you may be seated. And now, please welcome our Ph.D. Program Director, Dr. Tracy White, who will review the requirements for graduating with a Ph.D. degree in social work.
Thank you, Assistant Dean Woodruff. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Your deep connections and investments in the lives of our PhD students make each of you a warm and distinguished presence at today's ceremony, and we are grateful to celebrate our wonderful graduates with each of you today. In universities throughout the world, the Doctor of Philosophy, or PhD, signifies the highest level of academic achievement in most disciplines. The School of Social Work at Virginia Commonwealth University has awarded the PhD since 1981, so about 45 years, which is quite a long time. Doctoral students enter our program after first achieving master's degrees, and for many, engaging in social work careers prior to taking on further doctoral work. During their first 2 years, doctoral students complete rigorous coursework in theory, research methods, policy, and a specialized area of research interest. In the third year, they consolidate this coursework in a qualifying exam that focuses on their substantive research area in preparation for the dissertation. Finally, in the remaining years, each student conducts an empirical research study that culminates in a dissertation, which is an independent piece of scholarship that they develop, conduct, write, and defend in a public presentation. Doctoral work is intense and takes perseverance, sacrifice, and high motivation. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And in the middle of their marathon, our doctoral students contribute in many other ways, such as community leadership, advocacy, and especially teaching in both our B.S.W. and M.S.W. programs. Today, we are proud to confer this hard-earned distinction and to celebrate the work of two graduates of our doctoral program, Dr. Victoria Cascio and Dr. Reem Shokat. I am pleased to formally introduce Dr. Shokat as our PhD graduate speaker today. Come on up, Reem. Her work and academic interests center on social justice, immigrant and refugee experiences, and community well-being. She is passionate about creating spaces of dignity, equity, and belonging through community-engaged research and action. Please welcome Dr. Shokat to the podium.
Hello, everyone. It is an honor to stand before you today, not only as a graduate, but as part of a community that has worked hard and grown together to reach this moment. And for me, this journey begins with my family. To my sisters, Ruba and Isra, Growing up alongside you has been the greatest privilege of my life. To my father, Abdurazik, you came to the U.S. in the 90s, a land of unequal opportunity. Through your hard work and sacrifice, my siblings and I were given the space to dream. Ooh, this is the hard one, y'all. And my mother, Magda, words feel insufficient. When the world feels overwhelming, it is in your embrace that I remember everything will be okay. Because of you, I'm standing here today. Ooh, okay. This journey has unfolded alongside realities that extend beyond my family. In the second semester of this program, war broke out in Sudan, and like many in the diaspora, I felt a deep sense of helplessness. Over 14 million people displaced, more than 21 million facing food insecurity, millions of students forced out of classrooms, a healthcare system collapsing while people die from conditions that could have been treated. Amid all of this, you might be asking yourself, where could hope come from? Hope as a feeling can waver at times, but we can always find our way back. Restoring hope doesn't come from ignoring pain. I think hope is something we practice. I've seen it in my family, in their sacrifices and love. I've seen it in my students and peers who carried their own burdens and still showed up. And I've seen it in Sudan, in people who, despite unimaginable loss, continue to care for one another. While the world looked away, Sudanese communities responded immediately, taking action in the face of crisis. Hope was community kitchens continuing to feed families. Hope was emergency response rooms treating the injured. Hope was civilians on the ground showing up for one another with whatever they have. And hope was the diaspora organizing, fundraising, advocating, and refusing to let silence be the final word. Hope emerged through the actions of people, because while institutions fall short, people do not. As social workers, this is the work we are stepping into. We are entering a field that does not look away from pain. We move towards it. We sit with it. We respond to it, and in doing so, we practice hope, not as a feeling, but as a choice. As James Baldwin reminds us, hope is invented every day. And how we show up, and how we care, and how we refuse to accept injustice as inevitable. So, class of 2026, when the world feels heavy, and it will, remember this. Hope is not something we wait for, it is something we do. It lives in the way we show up for our communities, in the work we choose to do, and in our refusal to give up on one another. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2026.
Thank you, Dr. Choquette. Okay, so Dean Cuddyback, Assistant Dean Woodruff, members of the faculty of the School of Social Work, the following candidates have all successfully completed the requirements for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and are highly qualified to be recognized for their accomplishments. I will call each candidate forward individually to be hooded by a member of their committee or their dissertation chair. Dr. Victoria Cascio, hooded by faculty member Dr. Jamie Cage. Dr. Cascio's dissertation is titled Intersecting Identities, Complex Healthcare, Military Affiliation, and Transgender Health Outcomes. Dr. Matt Bogenschutz served as chair of her dissertation committee and included committee members Drs. Larkin Francis and Jacob Goffnett in the School of Social Work and Dr. Dina Garcia in the School of Public Health here at VCU. Dr. Cascio, please, you have come forward to be hooded. Thank you. Dr. Reem Shokat, hooded by Dissertation Chair Dr. Hyojin M. Dr. Shokat's dissertation is titled Held Together Across Borders, Transnational Families, and the Quiet Work of Survival. In addition to Dr. M, the dissertation committee included Drs. Nicole Corley and Mackenzie Green of the School of Social Work and Dr. Michael Broda of the School of Education here at VCU. Dr. Shokat, please come forward to be hooded. Thank you to all the committee members and faculty and you all for guiding and supporting these scholars, and everyone, please join me one more time in congratulating our PhD graduates for this significant accomplishment. And now I'd like to introduce M.S.W. Program Director, Dr. Kasara Bay Spencer.
Thank you, Dr. Wyke. Good morning, distinguished staff, faculty, colleagues, honored guests, families, friends, and the resilient class of 2026. It's my privilege to come and celebrate you today. And this is quite a celebration of the culmination of your graduate journey. For you have chosen to enter the ranks of thousands of professionals who stand alongside their neighbors and communities, striving for a more equitable and just society. And whether you know it or not, you earned your M.S.W. degree for such a time as this. Some of you started the program during COVID and persevered through that and through the subsequent social and political upheaval, only to graduate in the midst of deliberate and concerted efforts to roll back social safety nets, civil and human rights, and legal protections for vulnerable populations of all races, ages, and stages of life. And I am certain there were times you questioned your decision to attend graduate school as well as your choice of social work. I mean, who could blame you, right? Many of you navigated multiple competing roles and responsibilities while finishing your coursework and completing hundreds of hours at your field placements. Daryl Fraser spoke to this before, those late nights and early mornings, those missed social events, and those tears, many, many buckets of tears. And yet, here you are, prepared to engage with marginalized and oppressed populations, ready to critically examine social and political issues, and to intervene with solutions that restore dignity to humanity, and more importantly, you are certainly prepared to make a difference in this world. Now, I recognize you didn't arrive at this moment alone, so I want to thank your family and friends, your professors, the VCU advisors, your accountability partners, and even your critics. Yes, your cheering squad, because they uplifted you and pushed you to this very moment. And finally, to the class of 2026, please remember that earning your M.S.W. degree is not the end. You must constantly hone your craft, but you must also take care of your soul. Be open to the richness, the wonder, and the magic of being part of such a critically important profession. And please remember that you indeed were called to social work for such a time as this. Now, I would like to introduce you to the class of 2026 M.S.W. student speaker, Yulisa Zavala. Julissa is a proud first-generation Mexican-American student who obtained her Bachelor of Social Work at VCU and is now graduating with her Master of Social Work. Her journey through this program sparked deep reflection and exploration that led her to build meaningful relationships and discover her passion and calling for macro social work. Whoop, whoop. Her commitment to community and social justice is deeply rooted in her lived experiences and understanding the importance for sustainable change that centers uplifting marginalized voices and building safe spaces that are rooted in dignity, connection, and collective care. As she re-emerges into the profession as a macro practitioner, she is committed to taking up space and empowering communities to reclaim the power that has always been theirs.
Bear with me, y'all. Good morning, everyone. Today I stand before you with an immense gratitude, not just for this moment, but for everyone who has stood by my side along the way. To my parents, my family, my partner, my friends, and everyone who has supported me along the way, thank you. Growing up, I always felt like it was my responsibility to fit in, to be less different, talk a certain way, like certain things. I even Americanized my name. I let society dictate who I was and how I showed up in the spaces that I was in. But today, I am choosing to reclaim my power. My name is Julissa Zavala Mendoza, and I am a proud first-generation daughter of immigrants who saw firsthand what it meant to sacrifice for love and the hope of opportunity, to be resilient and to persevere even when the world felt so foreign. I came into this program expecting a linear path, earning my master's, pursuing licensure, maybe doing direct practice. But my journey unfolded very differently. New paths opened that really challenged me to look beyond what was in front of me and reconnect with something deeper. My heritage, my lived experiences, my identity. In this, I found macro social work. And the world of possibilities that emerged from that. To have had the privilege to experience something so special in community with my wonderful, very small but very mighty macro family. Yes, I love you guys. What I've come to understand is that whether your path is micro or macro, one cannot exist without the other. The way in which we show up in fractals, like the small ripples that we create, shapes the larger systems that we are a part of. The relationships we build, the care that we practice, and the courage that we embody are not secondary to our work. They are the work at its core. We're living in a time that's filled with so much uncertainty. A time where it's easier for leaders to dehumanize rather than celebrate the beauty and the differences that we all share. But in this moment, we have a choice to be leaders, to be visionaries, to move with integrity and honor the stories that continue to be silenced, to challenge the systems and leaders of today for the possibility of a different tomorrow. So as we reemerge into this field as social workers, I invite you to carry these things with you. Center humanity over systems. Name harm when you see it and not just its impact. Stand with communities, recognizing the wisdom and resilience they already hold. Practice courage, especially in moments it's easier to stay silent, and let your work restore the dignity wherever it has been taken. As we carry this forward, I also want to recognize that we do not do this alone. We carry with us the people who made this journey possible. And today, I want to honor mine. For this final part, I will be speaking in Spanish as I dedicate it to my parents, and I will try to get through it without crying too much. Este próximo mensaje será en español para poder honrar a mis padres. Espero que mis compañeros latinos y sus familiares se puedan ver en este mensaje también, porque sin ustedes nuestros logros no serían posibles. Para mi mami y mi papi, ¿se pueden parar? Queden separados, queden separados. Ok. Sin ustedes, mi historia no sería posible. Porque a pesar de todas las luchas y los sufrimientos que ustedes pasaron en silencio, nunca nos dejaron de apoyar y dejar de imaginar todas las posibilidades que podían estar en nuestras manos. Ustedes dejaron todo para poder darnos todo, para crear un camino donde todas las posibilidades que ustedes no pudieron tener, las pueda tener yo hoy. No creo tener suficiente vida para poder agradecerles y repagar todo el apoyo incondicional que me han rendido. Pero solo le pido a Diosito y a la Virgencita de Guadalupe que me permiten el tiempo para intentar. Este logro de hoy no solamente es mío, este logro es de ustedes. Aquí hoy yo espero poder ser un espejo en que puedan ver su reflexión y saber que este logro hoy es de ustedes también. Cada meta lograda es gracias a sus sacrificios y todo lo que hago es siempre en dedicación para ustedes. Gracias por siempre amarme y permitirme el privilegio de soñar. El logro más grande de mi vida no es estar aquí parada hoy, sino poder decir que soy su hija. Los amo con toda mi ser. Muchísimas gracias, and congratulations to the social work class of 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Julissa, for such an inspiring message. My goodness. And now I would like to present our faculty members who will be performing the hooding of our M.S.W. graduates. Doctors Kimberly Compton, Nicole Lee, Yafan Liu, Ananda Newmark, and Clara Pritchard. Dean Cuddyback, members of the faculty of the School of Social Work, I present to you the 2026 M.S.W. class. These individuals have successfully completed all degree requirements and are now ready to be recognized for their accomplishments. Calling the names of our M.S.W. candidates are Daryl Fraser, LaShonda Singleton, and Danita Trice.
Tamra Abuhezi.
Caitlin Aguilar.
Aween Ahmed.
Marlene Allen.
Mary Allen.
Caroline Allison.
Sarah Aikata.
Patty Appion.
Mariana Arauz Ponce de Leon.
Christine Ashkar.
Melissa Aitman.
Larissa Atkins.
Anaya Austin.
Brianna Bain.
Nadia Bangora.
Brooklyn Bear.
Sherry Becker.
Laura Bollier.
Angie Borkowski.
Andrea Brink.
Alexandra Briscoe.
Dylan Bromander.
Mackenzie Brooks.
Megan Brown.
Kendra Boyd.
Sky Medina Carr Melton.
Sarah Casto.
Haley Chapman.
Caitlin Aubrey Chase.
Eva Chavez.
Elizabeth Childress.
Shania Childs.
Sophia Conroe.
Nina Copeland.
Nicole Merritt Costa.
Sadie Cox.
Brighton Craig.
Erin Cretier.
Cash Cummings.
Angelina Curi Cabrera.
Bailey Danahay.
Julia Day.
Mara Devereaux.
Colleen Diop.
Vivian Din.
Alma Dominguez.
Johnson.
Jennifer Eze.
Kaisha Evans. Todd Forshawn.
Kaylee Flanagan.
Jennifer Flavin.
Victoria Lynn Franklin. Giselle Freehouse.
Ellie Gaffney.
Elizabeth Gentili.
Antonio Giles.
Tara and James Goodrich.
Olivia Grau.
Christine Gresser.
Rebecca Hall Bison Hooks.
Abigail Hansen.
Aaron Harbor.
Carrie Harlow.
Sadie Hossenfuss.
Rosemary Hayden.
Rachel Highgard.
Lara Hendricks.
Brianna Sheree Huff.
Micaiah Howellbay.
Jasmine Hudson.
Christine Hudson.
Sadani Ing.
Elsa Jacobson.
Takaya James.
Jillian Juanita Johnson.
Merritt Johns.
Madison Catapole.
Kara Kaufman.
Sequoia Daimay Kilby.
Megan Kirby.
Kim Koger.
Aminata Goli.
Georgia Lanier.
Jan Lou Lawson.
Samantha Lau Au Pepe.
Christopher LeDuc.
Ellie Ray Leshichin.
Hannah Levy.
Jake Jacob Liu.
Ava Lichion.
Kayri Lopez Escobar.
Tyson Macari.
Xiomara Maria Meldado.
Trinity Cheyenne Malone.
Emily Marks.
Maria Martinez.
Mallory Maycock.
Melissa McCarthy.
Margaret McDermott.
Alina McMillan.
Sarah Messervy.
Laura Miller Kim.
Ainsley Miller.
Amanda Miller.
Christina Molinares.
Stephanie Moore.
Taisha Muse.
Lily Nadell.
Madeline Knowles.
Janie Nye.
Paxton O'Brien.
Emma Olgers.
Karina Paget.
Kate Parker.
Ashley Barra.
Alexis Payne.
Ashley Payne.
Braille Peterson.
Ava Phelps.
Jada Pierce.
Juliana Beard.
Danye Piggy.
Amy Prestige.
Emily Brown.
Mary Purvis.
Mindy Lee.
Robin Ratson.
Alexa Reyes Garcia.
Kaylin Torres. Rodriguez.
Keisha Robinson.
Emily Rangel Rodriguez.
Paloma Rodriguez Salcedo.
Haiti Romero.
Rachel Ryan.
Veronica Salgado.
Tasha Savage.
Zachary Sharf.
Claire Sears.
Catherine Tamara Seaver.
Julie C.
Lucille Schaefer.
Katie Schaefer.
Jacob Shepard.
Ryan Sherrod.
Margaret Short.
Lauren Slaughter.
Ikea Vonique Smith.
Corzette Staten.
Christine Stifer.
Lena Steiner.
Sydney Elizabeth Reed Stewart.
Devin Strasbaugh.
Nat Susie Dellis.
Kirsten Kiki Zemecki.
Carissa Timerson.
Holly Tamavansa.
Jamie Thomas.
Courtney Thompson.
Ashley Timmons.
Noah Togare.
Ursula Turner.
Alexander Terveen.
Nicole Van Buren.
Hannah Van Dyke.
Luke Varley Twyman.
Kylia Wolf.
Cameron Voitko.
Haley Ward.
Oh, Olivia Warner.
Anastasia Washburn.
Jalen White.
Sean Tay White.
Kiara Whittier.
Maria Guadalupe Wilcox.
Grace Wilmore.
Michael Wingate.
Megan Wright.
Molly Wright.
Alexa Zeringer.
Yulisa Zavala.
Jude Zidlicki.
Jessica Zobe.
Let's give our graduates another round of applause. And now I'd like to introduce our B.S.W. Program Director, Dr. Stephanie O'Dara, as we recognize our undergraduate class graduating today.
Thank you, Dr. Spencer. And now, like a fine wine or a decadent dessert after a family meal, we've reached the best part of the ceremony. The presentation of the 2026 B.S.W. candidates. Today marks a major milestone in your journey, not just as graduates, but as social workers committed to making a positive impact in the lives of individuals, families, and communities. As your program director, I have witnessed your commitment to your studies and your field placements. You've managed the demands of this program while balancing jobs, caregiving, and life's inevitable curveballs. You've shown up even when it was incredibly hard, and I am deeply proud of each and every one of you. Most of you started this academic journey the same time that I became program director, so we have been in this and have grown together. Graduation is a time of celebration, but also one of commitment. You are stepping into a profession and into a world that is at a crossroads. We are witnessing the intentional backlash against the very principles that form the foundation of social work: equity, anti-racism, inclusion, and collective liberation. In this moment, your role as social workers could not be more urgent. And yet, even in the face of adversity, we draw strength from those who came before us. James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced." This is at the very heart of our practice. We do not turn away, we bear witness. We hold systems accountable, we center the stories that others try to erase, and when those in power attempt to silence the language of equity, we speak even louder, with purpose, with clarity, and with hope. But let's be clear, hope is not passive. It's not wishful thinking. Hope is a form of resistance. It is the refusal to give into despair. It is the stubborn belief that a better world is not only possible, it's our responsibility to help build it. In the words of one of my favorite scholars, Audre Lorde, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid." And so I urge you to practice radical hope, not a hope that denies reality, but a hope grounded in action, in community, and in love. Keep learning, keep questioning, keep imagining systems rooted in care, justice, and abundance. Your social work practice will not always be easy, but it will always matter. B.S.W. candidates, on behalf of the B.S.W. program, the School of Social Work, and VCU, I want to congratulate you on all that you have and will accomplish as social work practitioners and scholars. You are ready, you are needed, you are powerful. And now, for our B.S.W. student speaker, Autumn Matuzier, to share her story. Autumn is graduating from our B.S.W. program, magna cum laude, with a minor in sociology. As a first-generation student, she has served as the vice president of the Bachelor of Social Work Student Association, presented at research national conferences, and received the School of Social Work Service and Leadership Award. Autumn carries with her the unconditional love and support of her family and friends, attributing her success to her unwavering encouragement through her undergraduate journey. Following graduation, she plans to work in her community before returning to VCU to pursue her master's degree. Autumn.
My cap is gonna fall off. Ooh. Good morning, everyone. Ooh. Ooh. I first want to thank Dr. O'Dara for such an amazing introduction and all the support she has given me since being my very first professor in the social work course. Coming into VCU as a sociology major, I knew I wanted to pursue a career that would produce societal change and promote equitable opportunity. At that time, I believed sociology was the path for me, but simultaneously, I wanted to do social work post-graduation. It was thanks to Dr. O'Dara's guidance that I stopped doubting what I was capable of and dedicated myself to social justice. Reflecting on that moment of redirection, I began to recognize the role that others play in shaping how we view ourselves and how we navigate our lives. Ultimately, we are all shaped by our experiences, both negative and positive. Personally, this is a complex truth to embrace because I have a hard time believing how much of our lives exist outside of our control. But I am also thankful for it because somewhere along the way, we all found our why. And honestly, I don't know about you all, but at times, my why is all I've had to keep pushing me forward. I believe that these whys not only motivate us, but also transform into action. In and outside of the social work field, they show up in the way we treat others, with grace, empathy, and compassion.
These values are embodied through the small things, the heavy, uncomfortable moments, and the decision to persevere even when it feels impossible. In becoming the professionals many of us wish we had, it is important to recognize that we are pursuing one of the biggest acts of resistance, leading with humanity. The value of human connection, consistency, and service is often overlooked, but we continue to center that in our practice. I am extremely grateful that many of you have shown up for me in these exact ways, and I know that you all will continue to create impact everywhere you go. Having the immense pleasure of getting to know so much of my cohort, to hear their stories, their dreams, trials, and tribulations, I am thankful for the whys that have motivated us to become the next generation of social workers. In this moment, one where I'm already trying not to stutter and cry in front of hundreds of people, hold my hand while we say this, guys. I want to challenge myself to reflect on how grateful I am to be here and how many people have helped me along the way. Personally, a part of my why cannot go unrecognized. Today, we all graduate with our new degrees, and I cannot help but think of those who could not be present to see our achievement. I don't wish to speak for everyone, but I know many of us have experienced a loss that has left an impact on who we are today. For those of you who are missing a special someone, know that they are still a part of this moment and everything you've worked to accomplish. I hope for all of us to remember that as we celebrate this milestone today. Lastly, I want to highlight the resilience and courage we have shown throughout this journey. Pursuing school in today's climate has not been easy. But through it all, we have persevered while balancing our coursework, field placements, jobs, social lives, extracurriculars, and everything in between. We cannot forget that we all deserve to be here today. When we first show up for ourselves, we become more present for others. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Autumn, for sharing your story. Dean Cuddyback, members of the faculty in the School of Social Work, I present to you the 2026 B.S.W. class. These individuals have successfully completed all degree requirements and are now ready to be recognized for their accomplishments. Calling the name of the B.S.W. graduates are Dr. Umberto Fabello and B.S.W. Program Assistant Director Allison Rouse.
Artasia Barbie.
Ruth Bennett.
Yakima Shani Boyd.
Troy Branson.
Ella Kate Brockwell.
My angel Jacquet Brooks.
Janaya Burrell.
Winter Carnes.
Amber Carpenter.
Ashley Jo Marie.
Ariana Cheeks.
Lauren Childers.
Carolina Cruz Rojas.
Kid Curtis.
Salina Davila.
Chloe Davis.
Catherine Elizabeth Dawson.
Elena Diaz.
Lindsay Dolan.
Rebecca Dressner.
Nathan Druas.
Melanie Epps.
Aaliyah Itu.
Elise Forstel.
Brianna Fragosa.
Matthew Fuller.
Tykeja Gaskins.
Or two. Savannah Henao.
Haley Green.
Lily Grove.
Muskan Hawk.
Miracle Harrison.
Elizabeth Halsley.
Deandra Hayes.
Bella Hoffman.
India Brown.
Javon Jackson Noor.
Pilar Michelle Jamat.
Spencer Josie.
Elisha Simone Monea Judkins.
Leah Copper Dale.
Brandy King.
Majesti Katan Pala.
Jada Littoral.
So Nita Locke.
Suado Madej.
Andrea Martinez Alvarado.
Autumn Matusiak.
Layla McBlone.
Julia McKinnon.
Bjorn Meyer.
Vivian Miles.
Gracie Miller.
Staley Moritz.
Finn Nasser.
Nathaniel Page. We're a little bit behind. We're going to wait till they... It's the last one that you... Over there. And that is, we're going to wait until it's clear. Did you get her your card already? Okay, so then we'll start with the next one. We're waiting until they clear. Okay. Wait till she's done with the Danette, stay there. Don't move. Oh, her name.
Claire Parker.
Sarakas. Caroline Sarakas. Danette Marie Pelt.
Maj Pasikan.
Caroline Sarakas.
Ezra Reeves.
Aquia Robinson.
Vanessa Rodriguez.
Xochitl Rodriguez.
McKenna Ryan.
Ariana Halima Bella Shaw.
Anna Sonowski.
Nick Stumpo.
Emily Taylor.
Jesheron Thomas. There he is.
Everly Toole.
Darius Tyler.
Jessica Marie Wellico.
Elliot Wickham.
Reina Zamora Lopez.
Please join me in congratulating one more time the B.S.W class of 2026 and all of our graduates. Now I'll turn this back over to Dr. Cuddeback for his closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. O'Neill. How fun was that? Let's do another round of applause. Let's give another round of applause for our speakers, Daryl Fraser, and our students. What powerful messages, what wonderful messages those were. So graduates, we are almost ready to make your accomplishment official. But first we need to do something very important. Graduates, you did not take this journey alone. Whether it was help with tuition, a shoulder to lean on, a good meal, laundry service, maybe a phone call to the dean, or a pep talk when you needed it. Family, friends, and supporters have been with you the whole way. So whether they are with you today or watching from home, please join me in applauding and acknowledging your family, friends, partners, loved ones, anyone who helped you on your journey. And as Dean of the School of Social Work here at VCU, I also want to say to all who believed in our graduates, thank you for all of your commitment and support. These graduates could not have done it without you. Thank you. So graduates, you now join a profession with a proud heritage and history. You are a social worker. We all look forward to witnessing the amazing work you will do throughout your career. And also, as alumni of our school, we hope that you will remain engaged with us as educators, supervisors, field instructors, and supporters. And know that wherever you go, you will always be a member of the Ramily here at the School of Social Work. Right on. Go Rams! So we're going to conclude our ceremony in just a moment. Graduates, I will invite you to, when I give the word, move your tassels from right to left. And this, not yet. When I give the word. So then that will, when I give the word, that'll conclude our ceremony. Music is going to start right away, and faculty, we're going to exit the stage in a disorderly fashion right down that way. We'll go by rows. So it's going to be a little bit abrupt once the music starts. We're going to conclude. And then graduates, you will recess out the way you came in, beginning with Ph.D. graduates and ending with our B.S.W. graduates. Marshals will let you know how to proceed, and then you'll be able to rejoin your family outside of our venue. So it has been a great time together. Take time to just embrace family, loved ones. Take time to embrace this transformative moment in your lives, and we all can rejoice with you. So, and now, graduates, please rise. Graduates, please turn your tassels from right to left. You have graduated. Congratulations, you have done it.
Woo!